Okay, I am going to get us started today. Let me get my screen shared here, and I'll move us through our agenda. We are at meeting number 24 of the Readiness and Adoption Committee. My name is Rich Oppenheim from Regional Government Services. I co-lead the meeting with Sahar Noor from City of Detroit. And as always, we get so much help and support and guidance from Albert from City of San Jose. So good to see you, Albert, today. Um, Let's see, what do we have on tap today? We're doing our welcome and introductions. We're going to be welcoming community engagement to the meeting. I'll talk a little bit more about that, walk through some project updates. We'll check in with Sahar on policy and adoption and activity around that space, and then talk about our next meeting and our upcoming speaker. If we have time at the end, we'll talk about some ongoing actions, and if people want to use any remaining time for breakouts for project work, we'll do that as well. Um, so just wanted to, I know we've talked about this in previous meetings, but wanted to remind everybody that the community engagement team is coming into the Readiness and Adoption Committee. So they're going to be under our broadening umbrella here. We're very excited to have them on board. This work is led by Meg Young from Data and Society and Liz Bueller from Salt Lake City. They have recently, through their committee that was moving through the launch of this guide, which is the community engagement guide, and that's available on the GovAI Coalition's templates page. It's an excellent resource for people that are rolling out AI-related content to communities and engaging with communities around AI technology. And I don't know, I sent a message right before this meeting. I don't know if Meg or Liz are on the call today, if they wanted to take a few minutes to talk about sort of what they envision moving forward with the working group. Meg, are you on the call today?
I don't see Meg on the call at this time.
Okay, I knew Liz
But
was going to be late, so I didn't know if Meg was going to be here. She said she didn't really have an update, so
yeah, no
they're still
problem.
doing some work. But they're going to be focusing on sort of, the community engagement aspect of AI adoption and readiness, and we'll have some, they'll identify some work to move forward. They're also going to be having a community engagement one-on-one opportunity, like similar to how Sahara is set up. So, people that are needing support around how to engage their communities around AI can get some customized one-on-one support from the people behind that effort, from Meg and Liz and any other
And Rich,
they've identified. Yeah.
quick, are you trying to share screen?
Yes. Am I not sharing again?
No, but I mean, I'm getting everything. I'm hearing everything loud and clear, so not a problem.
I always do that. I'm glad I need to make like a big reminder for myself, a post-it on my screen. I thought I did that. So, are you
I can
seeing it
see it right
now?
now. Yeah.
Okay, great. Um, so that's what's going on in the community engagement space, and we're looking forward to seeing their work as it evolves here in this committee moving forward and welcoming them to our team. Um, our next update is Rick here. Rick, do you want to walk us through the update of the newly renamed training group?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Rich. Yeah. So we're the first announcement is that we had been called the Upskilling Working Group, and we presented in lots of meetings prior to this. But we decided that with a little bit different scope, including fire and police and some element of curriculum around the community engagement, that we would be better named the Training Working Group. And Albert specifically wanted it to stay simple, so we're sticking with training. We're not going to go to Training Plus, I don't think. And then in terms of project status, we're the second of our three playbooks that we debuted at the summit last year are now have been released to the GovAI Coalition and finalized and put in pretty formats with visual guides to them. And the second one was specifically about a curriculum that it has been proven and used a lot in Jeffco in Jefferson County, Colorado, and that is something that any agency could draw on. And it's in nice detail with all kinds of considerations beyond, curriculum itself around how to roll it out. And so that's a good piece of work. And now it's thanks to Albert getting us out on Google Drive as opposed to having to navigate some of the SharePoint access issues. It's more publicly available. So hopefully people will start to draw on that. And if you do, please let us know. We'd love to know how these things are landing with people. The next playbook that's going to be coming out at the end of April in the coalition-wide meeting is on agentic AI and custom GPTs. And if agentic AI is a whole nother level of depth in terms of in terms of leveraging AI to do very complex potentially systems, and we've been getting a lot of leadership on that from Stephen Hill, who did the playbook I was just talking about and is doing the playbook on agentic AI, and we've arranged with the use cases committee to have a demo of the Scout platform that he uses, which there are all kinds of economic advantages to that in terms of pricing and in terms of sophistication. And he is going to be so usually in the use cases committee, these are typically like 5-minute demos, but I think this will be a little bit or somewhat deeper. And Stephen in particular will be showing some of the actual use cases that Jefferson County has built out with that, and so that's an open committee session, and I encourage people to go watch it live. They do a nice job of making videos of these, so you can go back and look at them. But it would be nice for people to be able to ask direct questions when that is taking place, because both the Scout leadership and Stephen will be there on that call, and they have been creating some really nice and very practical services for Jefferson County and can streamline other agencies in replicating those or adapting those. And the cool thing is once you learn how to use it, then you have this massive capacity to make an impact on your organization. The third thing is around certification. So we've been getting a directive from the GovAI Coalition as a whole to try to start creating a GovAI certification by the end of the year. And so Lon, who's not here today, has been taking the lead on that. And this is the document that she's been using to craft that. One of the are a couple of issues that we're really trying to get more material into this certification document is around an intermediary, and there are plenty of different agency or certifying bodies that one can work with, and some of them are more technical, and some of them are have deep reputations, and so our sense is that we should be pretty thoughtful about what the certification looks like, and who's going to be providing that. And then there's an actual cost to systematizing that and working with an intermediary and an actual agency. And what we are envisioning is actually having GovAI Coalition possibly white label so that it's actually a GovAI certification as opposed to that agency name certification, even if they're the ones that are, helping us put that structure in place. So that's on track. And then we had a nice talk by Andrew Nui, who's well known across the GovAI Coalition as a really prolific person in Kansas City, and specifically some work they're doing on AI fluency and their own training approach. They've been working on leadership training, and they have their own curriculum, and that may be a future playbook. But at this point, we just have the presentation available, and anybody who's interested, we can go deeper on that. And then we have our next meeting on April 13th, and we'd be happy to have people join the group. And we now have a new Slack channel, thanks to Albert. And so there's already some traffic there, and it would be great to have people using it because we've been essentially hijacking the adoption support Slack channel for quite some time, and this is really dedicated to the training itself.
Thanks, Rick. And we had a couple of people asking about joining the Slack channel, and it looks like Albert shared the link there in the chat. But please raise your hand if that link doesn't work for you or if you need another way to access that information. But I think that'll work for everybody. And Rick, I don't
Mm,
know if you saw the question from Jennifer in the chat about
Right. No, I
certification.
mean, yeah, SOC2 is exactly, I mean, there's just so many certifying bodies and there are different costs, there are different emphasis. And so this is a collaborative effort. I mean, Lon happens to have some background in certification, which is why she's leading this. But the people that we're bringing to the table, we're having a little call, or just four of us tomorrow, involving some of this. And Alan Eng, who comes from Northeastern, they've been working with the Cloud Security Alliance on a basically an AI responsibility safety certification. And what we'd like to do with the certification that we're doing right that I just spoke about is really build it around what has been proven to be very practical for people in government with AI. And the San Jose program that I don't know if it's ever been brought up in this meeting, but San Jose has this very, deep 10 or 12-week course. I think it's 10 weeks. That is, we'd like to see that as the foundation for it, as opposed to something that's a little bit more generic and might be, focusing on policy or certain areas that aren't as squarely what we've seen agencies in the coalition needing.
And it's very geared towards public sector professionals, right?
Right.
Rick, maybe you already shared an invite with me. If it's possible for me to pop in on that
Yeah, absolutely. I was
conversation.
hoping Lon has a funny thing where you can't see who else is invited to that. But if you don't have it, I'll just go ahead and add you to the invite.
Yeah,
Yeah,
could
and
you
if
send that to me too, Rick?
Okay. Yeah, that's great. I'll put you both optional. I'll do that right now. Awesome.
Great. Any questions for the training group, I should call them now. I'm gonna have to correct myself on that for the next few meetings, maybe.
Sure, Dr. Rupini, I'll do that too.
Great. Okay. Thanks, Rick, so much for checking in on this and for all this hard work that your group is doing. I did put a link to the image for that AI fluency roadmap that Andrew presented on. So I was trying to get to it, but ended up advancing my slides anyway. I'll share that in the chat when I can and share it out in the post-meeting follow-up. So really exciting stuff. Um, Next, I think we have a brief update from Maddie from there
Yep,
she
I'm
is.
here.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, so great to be here. Wanted to give a quick update. So in December, I think most of you have seen it. We released a checklist for senior state leaders on what they can do for AI policymaking. We did that in collaboration with everyone here. So again, appreciate that. Quinn, who's my colleague, not here today, but he's usually here. We've just been thinking a little bit more about follow-up pieces that we can do from sort of the broad overview checklist. And one idea that we had was to do a piece specifically focused and geared towards state oversight officials. So think like inspectors general, um, auditors, comptrollers, and just do like a checklist for them of things that they can do to ensure that agencies are being transparent, having effective AI deployments. We think it's just helpful to sort of target folks that maybe aren't focused on a lot in terms of like the guidance and helpful resources. So I just wanted to bring that to the group as something that we're thinking about. If folks have other um, people within state government that they think makes sense to include in that piece, or if someone is just like, this would be a terrible idea, please let me know. But we just wanted to throw that here. And I think if we do move forward on this, we'll obviously give this group a chance to give feedback and any edits that they might have to the document.
Great. Thanks so much, Maddie. And looking forward to hearing that. If anybody has any thoughts around, I like the idea of targeting towards oversight officials specifically. If anybody has any ideas or thoughts that you want to share about that, you can raise your hand now or share them with Maddie directly via email. Okay, and I have a brief Jim, do you want to, I know you didn't say you really had much of an update, but do you want to talk about these two things that you have here?
Sure, yeah. Not too much right now. We're just meeting with fire engineering training on Friday to finalize lesson 4, and then I'll drop them lesson 5. I've got a survey out to our group. We've got about 30 members in our group right now, and kind of trying to focus exactly what they want to get out of the group, where they're at. But right now, we've really just been kind of open discussion and then a use case demo each session. But I want to try to focus and add a little more value to that. So we'll get that survey done and try to focus folks back in. But in the meantime, the lessons are on track and we're just continuing to plug along. I assume, are we officially now a subcommittee of the subcommittee for training?
Yeah, and the idea behind that is to get all the training stuff under one umbrella because just for resources and for working groups that around training that might be struggling with getting resources to help support the work they're doing, we thought that it would be a great opportunity to centralize some of those resources.
Oh, and I
But
think it's great for consistency. Yeah.
yeah. So, but you'll still be working as, as directly as you have been on your specific project. So.
Thanks.
Yeah. And one thing I wanted to mention, Jim, also is I was on the fire engineering training site, sort of tinkering around, looking at the courses there. And like the link you sent me sort of got me to a landing page of all the courses. When I dive down into each specific class, like those first 3 sessions that are on fire engineering, I can take that class, but it doesn't ever get me back to like the overall landing page. And I don't know if when you're meeting with them, you might talk about that and explore that some, just because the thread was a little like I couldn't follow the thread back to the landing page. So
Okay, yeah, I'll ask them about it. I'm kind of intentionally trying not to take the classes, so I don't get biased by the information and how they're shaping it.
yeah.
So yeah, anything as anybody's interacting with the classes, let me know so I can talk to them about how the mechanics of how it's working. So that's great. Thanks.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Let's see. Want to check in. Sahar, are you on the call? Do you want to check in about policy and adoption work that you've been doing?
Yeah, hi Rich, thank you.
Hi, Sahar.
Hi everyone. Thanks for joining the meeting today. So nice to see so many new places, new names too, faces or names, whatever, however you feel comfortable joining. So there's a lot of stuff shared, and I'm excited about community engagement joining our work group. Let me see if anybody has any questions regarding that, regarding this committee or anything with community engagement. Does anyone have any questions? You can either raise your hand or put it in the chat. Okay.
And
Yeah.
Sarah, maybe I could just say a few words. So, um, like like Rich has mentioned and Sarah has just mentioned, the Community and Engagement Committee, we're going to bring a lot of that work into here. One, so we all have the capacity and ability to learn more from our Community Engagement Committee. We realize it's something that how we talk to our residents and our community members about AI, and not just AI, but technology in general, is something that becomes more and more applicable to more agencies every day. And so we want to be able to have that conversation in a bigger context. And also, as Sayer's mentioning, um, starting very soon, we're just ironing out some of the kinks right now, but by the time of our next Coalition Y meeting, we'll be launching one-on-one support sessions, not just for the policy side that you're seeing here that Sayer has done a great job with, but also on how to engage your community and specifically leveraging the community engagement playbook that our community engagement committee just put out. And in addition to that, also support on data governance, one-on-one support. So we'll be able to start offering all of those as peer-to-peer support. And to be very clear, this is not, this is not us trying to sell anything or try to do anything like that. This is government folks and our partners just volunteering time to work with each other and learn through some of these things together. So bring your questions, bring your curiosities, and bring your ideas, because what we all learn in these one-on-ones is what contributes to us all getting better together.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Albert.
much,
I think
Albert.
that's going to be so valuable because, there are so many resources at the coalition, but sometimes when you actually get into them, you're like, okay, that sounds great, but how does this work with my agency? And those are the really helpful conversations. So.
Yeah, thank you both. That's exactly right. Like what Albert said and Rich said, there is I still see a lot of new folks joining, or even for existing participants. If I don't know how far you're in your journey of AI adoption in your agencies, organizations, if you have any questions or any applicability to your own organization, when I offer the one-on-one support, we try to give, there's a ton of resources available on our GovAI Coalition website. And anything from how to get started or who should be part of this committee to make AI possible for your own organization, or anything similar to that effect of like, oh, I see you have this policy draft, or you have the fact sheet, or whatever wherever your journey is, and say, I'm stuck at this point. Do you have any ideas and things like that? So I've learned from engaging with the likes of people who reach out, and based on our own experience and things like that. And sometimes people even have us come in and give an overview to their either elected officials or their leaders, so that the adoption is easier. So I understand we are much further in the journey of AI adoption. There may be other things that now we are here, now we have this policy, and we have this incident or this contract or anything like that. I don't have answers to everything, but I can help with working with different folks to get us help on any particular question. So I try to give one-on-one, but like, for example, 3 or 4 of you have similar questions, I am trying to get started. Could you help? It's just like, overwhelming or anything like that. Then I join a group of or I make a group of a few people and start giving the same information to get started and all that too. So, having said that, we are, I've been with 2 phases. Is it phase 3, Albert, now that we will be getting into?
We are in phase 3, though I anticipate, I think we're towards the tail end of phase 3. More things to come.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Albert. Yeah. So in the next phase, we will have more things, more insights, more sharing and collaborating. This is all government employees. So I shouldn't say all. There are some partners too, but like we all help each other, especially the nonprofits or gov agencies, to see what's going on in your agency. How can I apply it in mine? Or how did you solve this problem or that, or something like that? So that all is available to you. You can reach out to me via the email given. We are also trying to automate some of the one-on-ones and things like that, and in the next phase or what have you. But even up until then, if you have any questions, if you want to reach out, or if you even want to contribute, or anything like that, please reach out. And I'd love to see more folks joining our work group. Let me know if your other colleagues or you yourself happen to be here first time and want to be a regular participant. We can help you out that way, and we can learn from each other. Any questions here? Oh, there are. Marcia is asking about recordings. There are recordings. There is YouTube also on how to get started, how to add things to your calendar, how to get all the resources and templates and things like that.
Yeah, Marcia, we'll make that link available. Albert, I don't know if you have that link immediately, but I also share that around in the post-meeting follow-up so that you can get access to all of that. So, Sahara, it looks like you have a question in there as well.
Yeah, that's a lovely question. Yes, it's going faster than we can adopt, and you're absolutely right. How do we keep up with that? So we have, if you review our website, there are so many templates, and then we have versions of those templates. We are adapting as fast as we can. We have sometimes a quarterly, half yearly, whatever, in the versions that we update. And like any, I come from technology, so like any software or anything, you do have to wait for the next version to come out. So that's what I tell my agency too. If the phase 2 is already phase 3 or 4 or whatever is already out, and we are still at phase 1 to get the policy done, so we said, nope, let's just keep with what we have, and then we can take the next in terms of templates and stuff. In terms of technology and all that, the larger coalition is continuously working to, like, for example, when we started, it was just AI, but now we are looking at agentic, and then maybe in future we'll look at more or things like that. So we keep adding content from the experience and all that. So for example, when we started, we did not have the data governance or things like that, and data governance is the bedrock of I would say the AI, in my opinion. So yeah, so things like that. We are also, as a coalition, we are growing, adapting, and you will have to see, based on your individual level, like your own organization, where you are, how you want to adopt, and things like that. Does it answer your question, Eric?
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. Just to add, I always think that, some baseline things like, having AI be human-centered, ethical, responsible, that's always future-proof, right? And so I appreciate your response.
I'm sorry, say that again, Eric.
Oh, don't. No, I just said there's, some things are always going to be future-proof, like saying, that your AI principles should always be human-centered, ethical, responsible, helpful. Things like that will never ever be eaten up by technology.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah, I agree. Anybody else? Anybody else have any questions?
Looks like there's a question in the chat that just came up.
Okay, how I remember. That is a very good question on what we do with agentic. We don't have specifically, as far as I know, specifically to agentic or this or that. I mean, it's like, data governance or some of the other things that we have, like overall governance in, and things like that. And when you say public facing, that's the community engagement thing. Like, if it is public facing, what are the things that the agencies can prepare themselves to serve serve our constituents better, and things like that. So there is it may not be the exact structure that you're like asking in a way, but there are different avenues from this coalition that can help us achieve that goal. Zohaib, does it answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and just a quick follow-up. Is Stephen Hill on the phone? He's our sort of our resident agentic AI expert, but maybe Rick, you can answer, is this question something that is addressed in the agentic AI playbook, or is this something that we could ask Stephen to speak on at a later meeting that might be helpful? I don't know if Rick is still there.
I'm still here, but I missed the beginning of that question. I'm sorry. Can you say it again?
Yeah, it's Zahib was asking about how our member agency is structuring governance around agentic AI before it goes public, and I didn't know if that was something that is part of the playbook that Stephen's addressing, and if not, maybe he could speak to the working group sometime. I mean,
there is a little bit in the playbook, but again, that in my thing about the April 7th event, I think that was on the slides that he's giving next week. That's a good chance to check in with him, and you can also just go to the new Slack channel and write about it. So that's probably the easiest way to ask a specific question like that.
Great. And I didn't mean to interrupt you. So hey, did you get your question answered?
Oh yeah, you're good. You're good. Thank you so much. Does anybody have any thoughts on medicine AI? I see a lot of member agencies who are starting to adopt, like the City of Fresno, Santa Clara Valley Water Authority, there's City of Las Vegas, and I don't know if someone has any knowledge on how they're utilizing it. Is it internal only? Are they using it for public facing areas and aspects?
Your volume's getting a little bit low in places. And what was the question was, does anybody have experience with what related to AI?
Medicine AI. It's a new, I guess, AI agent that is being deployed in in the municipalities, in municipal internal systems, which a couple of our fellow cities are using internally. Has anybody had any experience with that and how it's being utilized? I'm just trying to identify edge cases and come up with ideas.
And you said Madison AI?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if anybody has any experience with that specific tool. Raise your hand and let us know. Yeah, I see that. Thank you for putting that in the chat. Doesn't sound like it.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for sending the link. But yeah, you can also send us an email to him, and we'll try to see if anybody, Madison. So what I would say, that's yeah, there might be a few government specific AIs that are currently in use or anything like that. But we also have there is also use case committee and like fact sheet where all the different products are, you have information on a lot of those too. So we can look through that to see if we have that. If not, like if you guys are using that, we'd love you to contribute and say what you have, what information you have from the vendor or from the solution, and what you can share.
For sure. Yeah, we're actually looking into it, and in the coming coalition meetings, I'll be happy to share our experience at with Madison AI at the City of Fairfield here. Yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you.
Yeah, and I agree with
Excellent.
Sahar that use cases committee is a lot of places where they do vendor demos and talk about, potential application of a variety of AI related vendors, and then they couple that with Sahar, as Sahar is saying, with fact sheets about each vendor as they sort of do that process. So engaging with that use case committee around that could be really helpful for you for sure.
Awesome. Thank you. I'll join them. and see what they have.
Yeah. Sahar, anything else before we move on?
No, I don't have anything else. Thank you so much, Rich.
Thank you. And everybody feel free to reach out directly to Sahar. In the follow-up message that I send out, her contact information and everything you see on the slide here basically will be available for you to engage with her moving forward. I just wanted to remind everybody about our ongoing meeting format changing. We are changing the format beginning in April. So this is the first meeting, is April 1st meeting is project updates. Our second monthly meeting is going to be a guest speaker where we focus on, issues around AI and coalition education. So that's going to be on the April 15th. Our first speaker we have lined up is Charlie Johnson, who runs the Untangled blog. Some of you may remember him from if you've attended anything with Public Technology Leadership Collaborative. He wrote what I think is a really excellent article about what must remain human, and sort of talks about like what things should be assigned to AI, what things need to have some human touch points, and what decisions and judgments need to remain human. So I think it's going to be a really interesting conversation, and he's really talking about how to balance sort of AI and human collaboration. So he's going to have the floor on our April 15th meeting. So I really encourage people to come and listen to him. I've attended several of his training courses and webinars, and he's really knowledgeable about technology and systems thinking around technology, and like really sort of consciously engaging with AI. So I think it'll be a really interesting conversation. So really encourage you to attend. And so our next project check-in meeting will be on the first week in May. And we'll keep going through that cadence as we move through the year. So, but looking forward to getting some, getting people in that can provide us some thought leadership around AI and thinking about how we're actually, implementing and preparing our agencies for AI. Because as we've mentioned in the meeting, AI is constantly evolving, and our thinking around it needs to evolve, and how we sort of address things need to evolve, and based on our experiences with implementing. So it's iterative in so many ways, cyclical. So really looking forward to this speaker series kicking off. If anybody has any ideas for guest speakers, or you think, somebody would be a great contributor to the space that we have here, float those ideas to Sahar and I, and, we'll work with, producing a long-term schedule for this. And I know community engagement, I know Meg and Liz in their committee have been really good about bringing guest speakers as well. We brought in several guest speakers last year, especially towards the end of the year, but I know they've been doing their own, stuff around community engagement and bringing in speakers to speak about that. So this is something we'll want to collaborate with them on as well. But I'm really looking forward to hearing from people and thinking about how that applies to the work that we're doing here in this committee. So we have this at the end for people that are new, and it's just talking about how people can get involved. And you've heard us do some project check-ins, and if you've been attending regularly, we do sort of regular project check-ins about all the hard work that our working groups are doing, and all the effort that's going on. And they're always looking for additional resources. So, if you want to get involved, if you're new, you're not sure, attend a couple of meetings, you'll get a sense of, the main projects that are happening in the working group. But, your engagement with these groups can look differently, depending on your capacity. You can, as simple as drafting and providing help with editing content, or building out a PowerPoint, or, just coming to their working group meetings and contributing and brainstorming, and helping those working groups connect with external organizations that might add value or help us, distribute the resources that we're developing to a wider group of people, a wider audience. So, they all have ways that you can get in touch with them, and the post-meeting follow-up will also have that information, like if you want to join, contact this person. But if you also reach out to us if you have any questions about any of the working groups. Or even if you have an idea of a working group that you're interested in that, is not something we're addressing yet. If you feel something belongs under readiness and adoption and you want to sort of put some thought and energy around creating a project yourself or a working group yourself, let us know. We're always interested in new ideas. And then, continue to share like AI practices and tools. If you've developed an AI policy or updated an AI policy or agency, feel free to share those back to us. We keep those in our document folders for people to access. Same with trainings. If you've developed an AI training for your agency or send those to us and we keep those, and then members can sort of scan through those resources that already exist when they're building their own. So it can sort of, help with a sort of development cycle in that way to sort of cross sharing and getting us content and then using our content to build content later down the road. So, it's meant to be sort of synergistic like that and symbiotic, back and forth. So we always love to get resources and file those in the shared folder. So, and Beth, I see your comment about working group for AI for planning commissions. That's interesting. And, I'd love to hear more about that. And for that one, are you thinking of specifically training content or anything around readiness and adoption? Is that something you think? I know you're brand new. You may not feel like you have a solid understanding of the working group yet, but anyway, I'd love to hear more if you want to shoot me an email. So, oh, you came from higher ed. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, we would love to hear the idea. So feel free to reach out to Sahara and I directly if you want to talk about that work around planning commissions, and we can circle to Albert if it's something we think might be outside of the focus of this working group. So. I see a question from Jacob. Are any groups following the NSF AI Ready America opportunities? Is it just a quick, if anybody is, would you raise your hand or say something in the chat? And maybe Jacob, I don't know if you want to unmute and talk a little bit about that. People might not know what resource you're talking about.
Yeah, hi there.
Hi.
And it's nice to join the group. This is my first meeting.
Oh, great. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, this has just come up on my radar recently. I think it was just recently announced. The National Science Foundation is, and there may be others on the call who know more about this than I do. I'm basically looking for some forums to just understand where different states are maybe taking the lead on this. It's a national scale initiative. It's $1 million grants going to each state, which is, I know, not a lot of money for general capacity building. So it's sort of going out into public and private sector, but it would be stood up by, I think, public-private partnerships in each state, a combination maybe of workforce development organizations, universities, maybe tech companies as well. So I don't know a whole lot about it. I don't know if there's that much information on it yet, but I was curious if it's been in the chatter at all among this group. Thank you.
I haven't heard a lot. The only thing I'm thinking of is she's not on the call today, I don't think. Is Anmal on the call today? I know she runs a project, a working group on change management. She's not here today. They didn't have an update this week, but which is talking about how AI is impacting organizations, roles, workforce, and performance management. Sort of getting into thinking about how job descriptions might be differently. But I remember in her check-in, she referenced winning a grant. I thought it was like $1 million grant, but I don't know if it was this specific grant you're talking about. But she might be somebody to connect you with if that is the case, if that was this grant. I can't remember the name of it. I may have to go back and look at our past decks, but I know they won a grant to do some of that change management work at their agency. So,
Great.
I'll
Thank
connect
you.
her with you if it seems like there's a synergy there.
Yeah, that would be great. Thanks.
Um, and Kavya, you said you're actually pursuing this. Do you want to share about that? I'm not seeing her. Kavya, are you on the call? Do you have a chance to weigh in on that with Jacob? She may not be able to unmute. Or is she unmuted? Are you unmuted? We can't hear you, Kavya. I see you unmuted, but I can't hear you. Okay. Jacob, you might want to follow up with her directly.
Yeah.
But she says that she is, and for some reason I don't know why we can't hear her. But it looked like she was unmuted. Macavia, if you can hear us, if you can maybe drop your email or something in the chat for Jacob, that would be helpful for the two of you to connect potentially around that. If not, I'll try to connect you outside the meeting. Okay. And Jacob, thanks for sharing your email. So Kavya, if you can grab his email, but I'll see if I can connect you two outside the meeting as well. Okay, well, that sort of brings us to the end of our pre-designed content. Wanted to open the floor to see if anybody had any questions about anything we've talked about today or anything else that's going on with your implementation of AI at your agencies that we could address in the last few minutes. So the floor is open. If people have any questions or want to raise their hand, I'll give you a few seconds to think and drop something in the chat or raise your hand or share out. Sage, do you want to unmute?
Sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Hi. I was just paying attention, just kind of listening to all the different things that people are working on, but I was also it kind of made me think of something that I've been hearing about and just started to test and work with, but it's Andre Karpathy's infinite loop system. I'm just wondering if anybody's worked with that and applied it to anything in the government AI space. I'm just getting started with it, and there's a lot of different use cases, but I'm just wondering if anyone else has played around with that or gotten started, found anything useful with it.
Infinite loop system. Do you want to give us a little background on what it is?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it's a way that so he shared a method. It's on GitHub. I mean, it's kind of technical, but you could essentially copy it from GitHub and then apply it to different use cases. And like one of the use cases that I can think of for GovAI is essentially it's like an infinite loop where the agent goes out and learns something that has a set parameters of like what is correct. So instead of having like a human in the loop, which is normally how you would kind of do reinforcement learning for these models, you're taking the human out of it, but it has to be for specific types of jobs where there's a clear, correct answer. Like if it's subjective, it wouldn't work as well because you would need a human in the loop to provide the wisdom on what's the right answer and something that's subjective, but something that's objective or where it's like a yes or no type of thing, which is I think a lot of things that apply to um, Gov, you know, GovAI, you know, policies and things like that that are like black and white.
Yeah.
You could use it for things like that, where it's like a self-learning loop to progressively get better every time it cycles and it learns from its own mistakes. So really there's a lot of different use cases you can have for that, but essentially like I mean like learning the policies about a company and then updating those policies based on you know new factors or new laws and or new um, whatever details about their clients and internal whatever players.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Sage, I would really suggest that you post something in the training sets in the training Slack channel. Partly because Stephen Hill is really a complete master of using agentic AI in like all these different ways. And I was actually right before this call, I was on like an hour-long webinar that he was hosting, going into depth on this. And there really aren't in GovAI Coalition, there are only so many people that are really pushing the envelope on agentic AI. And you'd be more than welcome in our group to and I think you guys would learn a lot from each other. So please feel free to join the group and at
Sure.
least post in that channel with your questions. And
Okay.
Stephen loves this stuff, so he'd probably respond
Oh,
right away.
sounds awesome. What's the name of that group?
That's called the training. Is it training working group? Is that what it's called?
Training working
Yeah,
group?
training.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check that out. Thank you.
Great.
Beth, I see you chiming in about that too. Did you want to unmute and share anything around that that said that your agency might be using that?
Oh, we're not using, so my position is new at the Planning Commission. So I oversee research and innovation, and artificial intelligence is part of that. So, and I come from higher ed where I taught for 1,000 years and then got into into AI that way. So,
Great.
so what I'm really most passionate about is really helping communities themselves, because we're a bi-county planning commission, an MPO, helping them, like all the tools that you have, getting them into the hands of local government officials, local elected officials, commissioners or town zoning departments or whatever, because I think they struggle the most with new technologies, no matter what they are. What I really like about what he was talking about is that at the infinite loop, it looks through like contracts and things where there is a definite right and wrong answer, so that I still think that human in the loop is probably the best way to go, because it makes us all responsible for what we're doing. But it is interesting, and I think that might be the way of the future for some things that have hard and fast rules. But yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited to be part of the group. By the way, thank you so much for letting me join.
Great. We're so happy to have you, and thanks for chiming in about that. I think it's going to be one of those decision points at some point, like when and where we need to keep humans involved. So I think, there's
think
many
people are looking.
decisions they still have to make, right?
Well, and I think people are looking to us for guidance, right? So,
Yeah.
that's certainly true in higher ed. It's certainly true in the work that I've done here since January. People just don't know what AI is, and they don't know how to use it, and they want to follow the rules, but they don't know what the rules are, and they don't know what tools are allowed to use. And since planning commissions often are funded through, in our case, we receive both federal dollars and state and local dollars. We have to follow the rules of everybody. So, like, who is the keeper of the rules? And since tools and things change pretty regularly, what you can use and what you can't, how does that impact them? When that's really literally how they're funded. So, I'm so excited to be part of this group and to learn from all of you.
Great. Well, we're very happy to have you here and look forward to seeing you in future meetings. Okay, so we only have a few minutes left, so unless people have anything else, I'm gonna close us out for the day. I will send a post-meeting follow-up hopefully by the end of this week, and just a reminder again about our guest speaker next week. I'm looking forward to that, and really great to see everybody today, and thanks for all the active questions and participation in the chat and verbally today. So it's what makes this group really sing, I think, is when we have a lot of like good discussion around some of these concepts. Looking forward to seeing everybody in 2 weeks, and hope everybody has a great rest of the day.
Thank you. Have a great day.